the greatest Viking explorers, Leif Erikson and the discovery of North America. Learn English through history, A2B1. Hello everyone, welcome back to Learn Easy English. In Chapter 5, we explored the fascinating world of Norse mythology and learned about Odin, Thor, Loki, Freya, and Valhalla. Today we will discover another amazing part of Viking history. The Vikings were not only brave warriors, they were also some of the greatest explorers the world had ever seen. Long before modern maps and GPS, Viking sailors crossed dangerous seas and discovered new lands. One Viking explorer became especially famous. His name was Leif Erikson. Many historians believe he reached North America about 500 years before Christopher Columbus. Let's begin. Why did the Vikings explore? The Vikings did not travel only for adventure. There were many reasons. Some searched for new farmland. Others wanted to find valuable goods for trade. Some hoped to become rich or famous. Many simply wanted to discover what lay beyond the horizon. Because the Vikings built excellent longships, they could travel farther than many other Europeans of their time. Their curiosity led them across the North Atlantic. Erik the Red. Before Leif Erikson became famous, another explorer changed Viking history. His father was Erik the Red. Erik the Red left Norway and later settled in Greenland. He named the island Greenland, possibly to encourage more people to settle there. Although much of Greenland is covered by ice, small coastal areas were suitable for farming. Viking families established settlements and lived there for generations. Leif Erikson. Leif Erikson was born in Iceland and grew up in Greenland. He became an excellent sailor. Around the year AD 1000, Leif organized an expedition across the Atlantic Ocean. According to Icelandic sagas, strong winds and careful navigation helped his crew reach a new land west of Greenland. This land is commonly called Vinland in the Viking stories. Many historians believe Vinland was located in what is now Newfoundland, Canada. Archaeological discoveries at L'Anse aux Meadows support the idea that Vikings reached North America around this time. A journey across the ocean. Crossing the Atlantic was extremely dangerous. The sea was cold and unpredictable. Storms could appear without warning. Huge waves and thick fog made navigation difficult. Food and fresh water had to last for many days. Even so, Viking sailors trusted their ships and their experience. Their courage allowed them to travel farther than almost anyone else in Europe. How did the Vikings navigate? The Vikings had no compass. Instead, they carefully observed nature. They watched the position of the sun during the day. At night, they used the stars. They also paid attention to birds, ocean currents, wind direction, and waves. Some historians believe they may have used sunstones, special crystals that could help locate the sun when the sky was cloudy. Although researchers continue to study this idea, it shows how advanced Viking navigation may have been. What did the Vikings find? The Vikings discovered forests with many trees. This was especially valuable because Greenland had very few large trees. They also found rivers, fish, wild animals, and fertile land. However, life in Vinland was not always peaceful. The Viking settlers met indigenous peoples already living there. Historical sources suggest that both peaceful contacts and conflicts occurred. Because the settlements were small and far from Greenland, they did not last for many generations. Viking exploration changed history. Although the Viking settlements in North America were temporary, their journeys were remarkable. They proved that people could successfully cross the Atlantic Ocean centuries before later European voyages. Today, Leif Erikson is remembered as one of history's greatest explorers. His story reminds us that curiosity and determination can lead to extraordinary discoveries. Viking trade routes. The Vikings explored more than North America. They traveled to England, Ireland, France, Iceland, Greenland, Russia, and even reached the Byzantine Empire through rivers in Eastern Europe. They traded furs, amber, honey, iron, and wool. In return, they brought home silver, silk, spices, glass, and jewelry. Their trade connected many cultures across Europe and beyond. The legacy of Viking exploration. Today, archaeologists continue to discover new information about Viking voyages. Museums display Viking ships, tools, and everyday objects. Researchers study ancient settlements. Vikings Chapter 7. The Viking Raids. Why the Vikings changed Europe forever. Learn English through history, A2B1. Hello everyone! Welcome back to Learn Easy English. In Chapter 6, we followed the Vikings across the Atlantic Ocean and discovered how Leif Erikson reached North America centuries before Christopher Columbus. Today, we will explore one of the most famous and sometimes misunderstood parts of Viking history. The Viking Raids. Why did the Vikings attack other lands? Why were they so successful? And were they only raiders? Let's find out. The first famous raid. The Viking Age is often said to have begun in AD 793. In that year, Viking warriors attacked the monastery of Lindisfarne on the northeast coast of England. Lindisfarne was an important religious center. The attack shocked many people across Europe. Because monasteries often had valuable objects made of gold and silver, but only limited defenses, they became attractive targets for raiders. News of the attack spread quickly and made the Vikings famous. Why did the Vikings raid? Historians believe there was no single reason. Some Vikings searched for wealth. Others wanted valuable goods such as silver, jewelry, food, and tools. Some leaders hoped to gain power and respect. In some cases, growing populations and limited farmland encouraged people to look for opportunities elsewhere. Raiding was only one part of Viking life. Trade, farming, and exploration were also very important. Fast ships, fast attacks. One reason the Vikings were successful was their longships. These ships were fast, light, and easy to move. They could sail across the sea and also travel up rivers. This allowed Viking crews to appear suddenly, complete a raid, and leave before large armies could arrive. Their excellent ships gave them an important advantage. Viking raids across Europe. After Lindisfarne, Viking raids became more common. They reached England, Scotland, Ireland, France, and parts of Spain. Some Vikings even traveled along rivers into Eastern Europe. Not every journey was a raid. Many Vikings also traded peacefully and built friendly relationships with local communities. Over time, some Vikings decided to settle permanently instead of returning home. From raiders to settlers. The Vikings did not only attack towns, they also built new communities. They established settlements in England, Ireland, Iceland, Greenland, and Normandy in northern France. Many Viking families became farmers, merchants, and local leaders. Their culture mixed with local traditions. This helped shape the history of several European countries. The Danelaw. In England, Viking influence became especially strong. A large area came under Viking control. This region became known as the Danelaw. Here, Viking customs, laws, and language influenced everyday life. Even today, many English place names have Viking origins. Some common English words also come from the Old Norse language spoken by the Vikings. Were the Vikings always violent? Movies often show Vikings fighting all the time. The truth is more balanced. Yes, some Viking groups carried out raids. However, many Vikings spent most of their lives farming, fishing, trading, building ships, and raising families. Most people in Viking society were not full-time warriors. Understanding this helps us see the Vikings as a complete civilization rather than only as fighters. Viking leaders. Successful Viking expeditions usually had experienced leaders. These leaders planned voyages carefully. They chose the right season to sail. They organized crews and supplies. Good leadership increased the chances of a safe journey and a successful expedition. How Europe changed. The Viking Age changed Europe in many ways. Trade routes expanded. New towns grew. Cultures met and influenced one another. New technologies and ideas spread across different countries. Although some raids caused destruction, Viking settlements also encouraged trade, communication, and cultural exchange. Their influence can still be seen in language, history, and archaeology today. Looking ahead, the Vikings were led by many famous kings and rulers. Some became legendary figures remembered even today. In Chapter 8, we will meet Ragnar Lothbrok. Vikings, Chapter 8. The greatest Viking kings, Ragnar Lothbrok, Harald Fairhair, and Knut the Great. Learn English through history, A2B1. Welcome back to Learn Easy English. In Chapter 7, we learned about the famous Viking raids and how the Vikings influenced many parts of Europe. Today, we will meet some of the greatest Viking leaders in history. Some became powerful kings, some united kingdoms, others expanded Viking influence across Europe. One name is surrounded by legend. Another united Norway. A third became King of England. Let's discover their fascinating stories. What made a great Viking leader? A Viking king needed more than strength. He had to earn the respect of his followers. A good leader was brave in battle, wise in making decisions, and generous to his people. He protected his community, rewarded loyal warriors, and settled disagreements. Leadership was built on trust as much as power. Ragnar Lothbrok. One of the most famous Viking names is Ragnar Lothbrok. Many Old Norse stories describe Ragnar as a fearless warrior and adventurous leader. According to these stories, he traveled across Europe and fought many battles. However, historians are not certain whether Ragnar was one real person or whether his story combines several different Viking leaders. Even so, his legend became one of the most famous in Viking history. Today, Ragnar appears in books, television series, and documentaries around the world. Ragnar's sons. The Viking sagas tell us that Ragnar's sons also became famous leaders. Among them were Bjorn Ironside, Ivar the Boneless, Ubba, and Halfdan. Historical sources suggest that some of these leaders took part in Viking campaigns in England during the 9th century. Their names became part of Viking legend and continue to fascinate historians today. Harald Fairhair. Another important ruler was Harald Fairhair. According to Norwegian tradition, Harald united many small kingdoms and became the first king to rule much of Norway. Before Harald, local chiefs controlled different regions. By bringing many areas together under one ruler, he helped create a stronger kingdom. Although some details come from later sagas, Harald remains an important figure in Norwegian history. Knut the Great. One of the most successful Viking rulers was Knut the Great. During the early 11th century, he became king of England, Denmark, and later Norway. His empire connected large parts of northern Europe. Knut encouraged trade, supported laws, and worked to create stability in his kingdom. He is remembered not only as a conqueror, but also as an effective ruler. Viking leadership. Viking kings did not rule alone. They depended on loyal warriors, advisors, local leaders, and skilled sailors. Important decisions were often discussed with trusted followers. Strong cooperation helped Viking kingdoms grow. Leadership required courage, planning, and responsibility. Viking law and justice. The Vikings believed that good laws were important. Communities met at assemblies called things. People discussed disagreements, solved legal problems, and made important decisions. Even powerful leaders were expected to respect these traditional meetings. This system helped maintain order throughout Viking society. Viking kingdoms grow. Over time, Viking settlements developed into organized kingdoms. Trade expanded. New towns grew. Relations with neighboring countries changed. Many Viking rulers accepted Christianity, helping build stronger diplomatic connections with other European kingdoms. Gradually, Scandinavian kingdoms became more stable and united. Legends and history. Some Viking stories are based on historical events. Others include legends that were passed down through generations. Historians compare ancient writings with archaeological discoveries to understand which parts are historical and which belong to tradition. This careful research helps us learn more about the real Viking world. The legacy of Viking kings. The Viking kings shaped the future of Northern Europe. They influenced politics, trade, culture, and exploration. Their achievements are still remembered today in museums, historical sites, and literature. Their stories remind us that leadership is about more than winning battles. It also requires wisdom, cooperation, and responsibility. Looking ahead, every great era eventually. Vikings, Chapter 9. The end of the Viking Age. Why the Vikings disappeared. Learn English through history, A2B1. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Learn Easy English. In Chapter 8, we met some of the greatest Viking kings, including Ragnar Lothbrok, Harald Fairhair, and Canute the Great. For nearly 300 years, the Vikings explored new lands, traded across Europe, built powerful kingdoms, and became famous sailors. But every great era eventually comes to an end. Why did the Viking Age end? Did the Vikings suddenly disappear? Or did they slowly change into something new? Today we will discover the final chapter of the Viking Age. Let's begin. A changing Europe. By the 11th century, Europe was changing. Many kingdoms became stronger and better organized. England, France, and other countries built larger armies and stronger defenses. Castles were built to protect towns and villages. Because of these improvements, Viking raids became much more difficult. Attacking wealthy towns was no longer as easy as before. Christianity spreads. One of the biggest changes was the spread of Christianity. Many Vikings had believed in Norse gods such as Odin and Thor for centuries. Gradually, Christian missionaries traveled to Scandinavia. Many Viking rulers accepted Christianity. As kings became Christian, churches were built across Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Over time, Christian beliefs replaced many older Viking traditions. This changed Viking society forever. Stronger Viking kingdoms. The Vikings themselves also changed. Instead of many small local chiefs, larger kingdoms developed. Kings created stronger governments. Laws became more organized. Trade became more important than raiding. Many Vikings chose peaceful business, farming, and fishing instead of military expeditions. Life became more stable. Trade replaced raids. The Vikings had always been excellent traders. As Europe became safer and more connected, trade offered better opportunities than raiding. Merchants traveled between Scandinavia, England, Germany, France, and the Byzantine Empire. Ships carried wool, timber, iron, furs, fish, silver, and other valuable goods. Peaceful trade created wealth without the dangers of war. The Battle of Stamford Bridge. Many historians consider one event to mark the end of the Viking Age. In 1066, the Norwegian king Harald Hardrada invaded England. He fought at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. During the battle, Harald Hardrada was killed. His defeat is often seen as the symbolic end of the Viking Age. Although people from Scandinavia continued to travel and trade, the great era of Viking expansion had ended. Did the Vikings disappear? The answer is no. The Vikings did not disappear. They became part of the growing kingdoms of Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Their descendants continued farming, trading, fishing, and building communities. They simply lived in a different political and religious world than their ancestors. The Viking Age ended, but the people remained. Viking influence lives on. The Vikings left a lasting mark on history. Many English words come from the Old Norse language. Cities and villages across Britain still have Viking names. Archaeologists continue to discover Viking ships, tools, jewelry, and homes. Museums preserve these discoveries so future generations can learn from them. The Viking spirit of exploration continues to inspire people today. Lessons from the Viking Age. The story of the Vikings teaches us that societies change over time. People adapt to new ideas, new religions, new technologies, and new opportunities. The Vikings succeeded because they were skilled sailors, explorers, and traders. Later, they succeeded again by adapting to a changing world. Their history reminds us that flexibility and learning are important for every generation. Looking ahead. Although the Viking Age ended nearly 1,000 years ago, its influence. Vikings, Chapter 10. The Viking Legacy. How the Vikings changed the world. Learn English through history, A2B1. Welcome back to Learn Easy English. Today, we have reached the final chapter of our Viking journey. But even though the Viking Age ended almost 1,000 years ago, the Vikings never disappeared from history. Their ideas, discoveries, language, and culture continue to influence our world today. How did the Vikings change history? Why do millions of people still find them so fascinating? Let's discover the incredible legacy of the Vikings. Masters of exploration. The Vikings were among the greatest explorers of the Middle Ages. They sailed across the North Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, and many rivers in Europe. They reached Iceland, Greenland, and North America centuries before many later European explorers. Their courage and curiosity expanded the world's geographical knowledge. Their journeys proved that determination and excellent navigation could take people to places that seemed impossible to reach. Great shipbuilders. One of the Vikings' greatest achievements was their shipbuilding. Their longships were fast, flexible, and strong. They could travel across deep oceans and shallow rivers. Modern engineers still admire the clever design of Viking ships. Archaeologists have carefully studied these vessels to understand how such advanced technology was possible over 1,000 years ago. Trade across continents. The Vikings were not only explorers, they were also successful merchants. Their trade routes connected Scandinavia with England, Ireland, France, Eastern Europe, the Byzantine Empire, and parts of the Middle East. They traded furs, amber, iron, timber, wool, fish, honey, and beautiful handmade jewelry. In return, they brought home silver, silk, glass, spices, and new ideas. Trade helped different cultures learn from one another. The Viking influence on language. The Vikings also changed language. When Vikings settled in England, many Old Norse words became part of English. Common words such as sky, window, knife, egg, husband, and law have Old Norse origins. Many towns and villages in England still have Viking names today. Everyday English still carries part of the Viking story. Viking culture. The Vikings created beautiful art with detailed carvings and decorative patterns. They told stories about heroes, gods, and legendary adventures. These stories were passed from one generation to another before they were written down. Today, Norse mythology continues to inspire books, films, television series, music, and video games around the world. Characters such as Odin, Thor, and Loki remain internationally famous. Archaeology and new discoveries. Archaeologists continue to discover Viking ships, houses, tools, coins, jewelry, and runestones. Every new discovery helps historians understand Viking life more accurately. Museums in Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, the United Kingdom, and Canada display many remarkable Viking artifacts. Research continues to reveal new information about this fascinating civilization. Lessons from the Vikings. The Vikings teach us many valuable lessons. They remind us to be curious. They encourage us to explore new ideas. They show the importance of courage, teamwork, determination, and adaptability. The Vikings faced storms, long journeys, and difficult challenges, but they continued moving forward. Their story reminds us that learning and discovery never stop. Why people still love the Vikings. Today, millions of people visit Viking museums, historical sites, and festivals every year. Books, documentaries, and educational programs continue to explore Viking history. People enjoy learning about their ships, adventures, mythology, and discoveries. Although many legends exist, historians continue to separate myths from historical facts through careful research. This makes Viking history even more exciting. Final thoughts. The Vikings were much more than warriors. They were explorers, builders, traders, storytellers, craftsmen, and innovators. Their influence reached across continents and continues to shape the modern world. History helps us understand where we come from. The Viking story reminds us that courage, knowledge, and cooperation can change the future. Congratulations! You have completed the entire 10-chapter Viking series. From the beginning of the Viking Age to their lasting legacy, you have traveled through nearly 300 years of fascinating history. We hope your English has improved and that you have discovered many new facts about one of history's most remarkable civilizations. Thank you for learning with Learn Easy English. Keep learning, keep exploring, and remember, every great adventure begins with curiosity. We look forward to seeing you in our next Learn English Through History series. Vikings, Chapter 10.